Hey guys, this is my mini project one for advanced Java. I had this idea a few weeks ago. We had some issues with one of our cats, so just thought it would be a neat little midterm thing, and I plan to work on it in the future as maybe and just an add-on or something. I don't know. Basically, the app is called First Aid, and I designed the logo and licensed this free clip art. And I'll say it again, all my images I use in this are licensed for free. Um, and for these down here, I just added a little logo to each of them. And these are image buttons. Uh, yeah, basically, it's just like a little first aid app. Just a couple things, or a few things, just that pet owners can quickly look at and get an idea of how to deal with situations before they call the vet if necessary. Um, and again, these are image buttons, and I call dog button, cat button, respectively. So let's go into the actual class. All this is just your standard generated code, except for the code for the image buttons. I'd never worked with image buttons before, so I didn't know that you wouldn't call them normal buttons. It seems counterintuitive, or I mean intuitive, and I don't know. I just didn't get it at the time. So what I'm doing is I'm calling on that button, calling it something else here, setting an on-click listener for it, and all that's doing is I'm starting a new activity once it's clicked. And my intent, so start activity, my intent is to go from main activity, which is this class, to dog view class, which is my dog page. So with that being said, let's look at the design for each of these. So you have your standard title, just random text view, just a question. Spinner control, I couldn't figure out why the prompt is not showing up correctly in this, so just like I had to do with one of my other assignments, I just set select from list as array at 0. It actually worked in my favor. I'll go over that here in just a second once I go over my actual array. So users will hit the drop down and then they'll select from a list of possible issues. I have a home button control for each of these, and all that does is take them back to that main activity. I'm reversing the code we saw in the main activity, and I'll get to that once we get into some of the code. Both this page and the cat page are identical. It's just where you see dog, you'll see cat. There's also different information for the arrays because you don't always treat a dog like you would a cat, and vice versa. So confirm choice. So what this does is it grabs whatever's selected in here. It looks at that position in the array, and based on that position in the array, it spits back different text. In order to do this, because you can't fit all of this in one page, I added a scroll box so that users can use their finger and like scroll down through text. What I didn't know is you can't automatically add text to this, so it took me a while to figure out, but I had to add a linear layout to this. And once I did that, a linear layout vertical, I should say, not horizontal. And once I did that, I added a text box in that. So we've got Russian nesting dolls of stuff in here in order to add the text. And the reason they do this makes sense now. If I wanted to add multiple text views in here to change it once, I could, and now I know how. So let's look at the code for that. So standard generated code. All right, so here's that home button. I wanted to initialize it first before I did anything, just in case you click on the wrong thing and they're in a hurry to get back. Maybe they clicked on dog instead of cat by accident. Home button, it's doing the exact same stuff we talked about before. My intent is to go from dog view, which is this class, to main activity class, which is over here. Uh, Down here, we're initializing spinner button to grab the user selection from the spinner box. So, uh, okay, here we are calling on the dog spinner button, call it spinner button, setting on click listener for it. It would not let me do what I did like with the home button. It wanted me to use the lambda function. It was a quick fix, so I clicked on it. I'm not entirely sure that I fully understand it yet, but I'm sure we're going to get to it eventually. Okay, so here I am. I'm calling on the spinner. And we'll go over that array here in a minute. I should have gone over that first, but whatever. Okay, so and then I'm setting whatever position that they click on the spinner. It's getting that position from the array. So if dog choice is 1, then the choking and let's go ahead and go over that. So I've got my generic strings and my editor up here. and in the editor is where I have the different issues for the animals. Down here is my string away. So position 0, like I said, select from list. 1 is choking, 2 is poison toxin, and 3 is bleeding. And I use the same array for both those pages. uh, and then I also have a string down here for invalid choice. And that'll come into play here in just a moment. So over here I have my if loops. If it's equal, if the array at position 1 is equal to dog choking, at 2, dog toxin, 3, dog bleeding, else, assuming 0, because that's the only option, it pulls that string invalid choice that we just looked at. So, like I said, the cat page is exactly the same, except the information that is populated is going to be different because you're pulling from different strings, but the coding itself is exactly the same. So let's take another look at those strings. So over here, so cat choking, so you see just dog choking and cat choking are different just to prove that they're separate. So rerun that emulator. Okay, so let's go to dog. Let's check the function, or yeah, we'll do one of these. Select from list. Didn't click on anything on accident. Confirm choice, invalid choice. Please select an emergency. Choking. Confirm choice. Now the user would be able to scroll down through there and read what they needed to. Let's go ahead and select something else. And there it is, different text for that. Home, let's click on cat. We'll do select from list again. Invalid choice again. Choking. You see we've got a different set of rules for each of these. Like I said, you can't treat them the same. And it goes without saying, don't use this as like a serious emergency replacement for calling 911 or your emergency vet. Just an idea I had. But that's it. That's all I've got. Thank you.